Well, today is Tuesday, May the 30th, and this is a letter to my unborn son. It feels like a long time preparing for an ambush. Your strategy must command respect, and in some cases, trust. If your weapons are to be used for righteousness, the triggers must be only used for execution. The spirit comes under attack when you're most comfortable and least suspecting. Guard your own interests, because your enemies, however prosperous, will always lift their veil before conflict. The only fear of power is not using it. Balance your attack like a fine crease and share fire with a wicked countermeasure should your enemy deceive you that this war is not real. Inflict only when necessary. Forgiveness requires righteousness. I think about our encounters, like the encounters that we go through. We encounter things daily. We encounter things in our life. As we wake up, we wake up by accident or we wake up on purpose. But however we wake up and we go and things start to get into our day. We get into our day, some of us ahead of ourselves, some of us behind ourselves, some of us feeling right where we need to be, But I feel that no matter where we're at, spiritually, inside, emotionally, we're moving. We're trying to build, hopefully. Hopefully we have a mentality to build, to grow, to prosper, and plans to do that, But as we interact, that's how we go. We learn, we listen to ourselves. That's all. That's what's inside of us. Our soul, our spirit, our conscious, our mind, our mental, our emotional. Our state of being. We have to pay attention to that. We're not by mistake. We're not here by accident. We're moving. We're not put here to lose. And the more that our mentality is stuck there in a losing state, that's what we see, and we can't be surprised by seeing that, because that's what we wake up to expect. I feel sometimes like it's no better than that, so that it is what it is, and that's a losing mentality. I don't want no part of it. It's a negative. It's a negative. When you listen to yourself, and I listen to myself, I want to attach myself to positivity. Some might call it crazy. Positive self-talk, but it's real. We put ourselves in corners. We put ourselves in situations. Mentally, we attach ourselves to negative or positive. Mentally, we attach ourselves to that. And I think as we encounter adversity, as we encounter struggle, as we encounter conflict, we really learn what's important inside of ourselves and what we stand for. We learn our character. And interpersonally, it's important to keep good relationships positive. Don't burn bridges. There's a lot of bridges being burned these days at a drop of a hat or a swipe of a thumb. And how do you forgive some of that? Some of these things we can't forgive, right? Like, there's no way to forgive some of this stuff, right? But is there? It's an attitude. It's a positive mental. It's a willingness to listen, a willingness to bend, a willingness to give, a willingness to share, be positive. I'm not a natural energizer. I'm not a cooperator. I have to really click my mind in my business to be that sometimes, even when I don't want to be. And I've learned to try to build my day and my schedule where I am the most fit to cooperate. And that's not weak to me. That's not a weak mentality to me. It's not a fake mentality to me that so many people want to start hating and calling names and titling things, but it's either strong or weak to me. And I'm, don't be weak. Don't be weak on yourself. We weaken ourselves by what we attach ourselves to. So, I mean, it's simple as that to me. But I hope I'm not being naive. A lot of things affect how we wake up. So, that's what I mean. We got to guard ourselves to that. We got to prep ourselves spiritually, put on that armor. We chisel ourselves to go out and function like that, so that nothing can defeat us, so that we can set our mind forward, set a positive path and start to share something good and leave something good, other than taking from each other and, pulling, undercutting everybody. How else are we supposed to live in a state of forgiveness and love? If everybody's just pulling the rug out from underneath each other, it's gonna create some hostility. Especially when it's come from surprise, when it's Decepticon in there, when it's deceived you to believe that it's going to help you and grow you, and then what? How are you going to forgive? We're past that. This is not. We're yearning for a state of forgiveness and love, but that's not where we live at. We might see it on the screen all day long, but you do some history and you do some research and you'll find out that war is constant. And what is the agitate? What's the agitator? What is the real aggression? Don't be weak. And personally, I think about resolving conflict, because we can't function with conflict. We either have to resolve. We have to face it. Whether it's our own doing or I call it the devil's doing. Whether the devil introduces me to some conflict, which is the day that I believe that we are at, but that's not what this conversation is about. This is about attacking that conflict that we might encounter that wants to set us off of our path, and knowing when to pull our triggers to do that and do so, and trusting ourselves and believing in our own self as we are building to keep those scales balanced. As we go, if we're connected spiritually, if we're connected mentally and focused, then it's righteous, it's blessed, it's a blessing. But those violations will come. This world is wicked, and those violations will come. And if you feel that those violations are coming, and you feel that, then that scale of righteousness is coming out of wit. It's coming out of balance. It's not in harmony, and that's a green light. And that's where it's real. That's where you level your. I gauge my conflict. What level of conflict am I preparing for? What is this going to get at? I do my recon. It's not. I do my recon. How is this hurting me? What is the countermeasure here? How can I prepare my attack? What level do I need to prepare for? And believe me, you'll find out a lot about yourself when you spend some time alone in the dark and it's quiet and you're hurt. You're going to do some recon. You're going to do some searching. So balance those scales. Keep your scales balanced. Some places there is no forgiveness. There's a different realm, and you have to be aware of what we pick at. We have to be aware what kind of fights we're picking when we start branching off into these different realms where there is no forgiveness, there is no love. No sin is righteous. No sin is righteous. So as we're in the world, accountability and integrity underlies everything. It's karma. Underlying everything, it's karma. So function, what can we live with as we engage and encounter? And as you believe in yourself and trust in yourself, you'll find exactly what you can stand for and what you can't stand for. And instead of reacting to triggers mentally and emotionally, we can start pulling these triggers and getting stronger and building within ourselves real triggers. that's peace within self, being able to smooth. You know, that's, to me, it's totally broken. It's being forgiven, and it's work.